Local media firms and professionals can tap a new $48 million fund to help them keep pace with change. Now, these include adopting new formats like short-form TikTok content and building AI skills in the work. Now, the new 4-year program aims to strengthen the media sector as content consumption continues to shift towards digital platforms. Beatrice Yap reports.
This one comes with a lifetime
This may look
warranty.
like a real person hosting a live stream, but she isn't actually doing the talking and moving. This AI-generated clip was created from a picture. With just a few clicks, this media firm can now run live streams round the clock. This means reaching customers even while their staff are fast asleep. DU Media started out as a production house, creating entertainment and telling stories through videos. But with rapid changing technology, it decided to make AI part of its next chapter. Last year, it set up an AI department.
The shift in platforms went on to Instagram, went on to TikTok, and I think AI is another shift by itself. So I think for us as a business, adapting is the way to go. So for us, it's more of making sure that we know what is coming, what is new, and how do we adapt.
Projects like these are exactly what IMDA hopes to encourage. The funding from its new Digital Content and Capability Development Program is designed to help media companies keep pace. Companies can first try out emerging formats like short-form storytelling on platforms like TikTok. Second, they can incorporate AI into their workflows. That can mean bringing on board tech specialists or tapping AI tools to create content in new ways. This initiative builds on IMDA's $200 million Talent Accelerator program launched last December, which focuses on strengthening capabilities in longer form and more established content formats. In total, IMDA has committed around $250 million to support the media industry over the next few years. To get a slice of the funding, companies will first need to earn accreditation. The process involves an assessment of their content development capabilities. So far, 117 firms have made the cut. They can then submit ideas when IMDA opens a call for proposals. The first one runs until end July.
End of the day, it's about the human stories, about connections that only be possible through storytelling by real authentic experiences and by people. Technology augments and supports us in doing so. So it's not replacing human connections with AI or technology, but using AI to augment that storytelling to reach out to new audiences and to seize new opportunities.
He adds that it's important for the industry to evolve with the times and embrace new technology to stay relevant.
Well, you saw him in the package, and now Mr. Tan Kiat Hao, Senior Minister of State for Digital Development and Information, joins us in the studio, along with Ng Kai Yuan, co-founder of digital publisher Our Grandfather Story. Now, he's also the co-CEO of media company Unfold Asia. Welcome, Mr. Tan. First to you. What is the biggest challenge that you see facing Singapore's media sector today that's prompted the launch of this program?
Well, I think there are challenges, but there are so many opportunities. And one of the biggest trends that we see today is really changing formats of content and the platforms in which they are distributed, delivered, and monetized. And AI technology is transforming the entire value chain of media production. So it's really about helping our companies seize opportunities, ride the waves, and also tell our stories around the world.
And you see that as a gap right now, which is why...
It is a gap. And this program is really in response to the industry's request. They wanted us to put together a support package to help them. To me, it's an accelerator. Accelerate their learning and actually find out new ways of experimenting with new formats.
Oh, you mentioned the accelerator because together with that program, the Talent Accelerator program, you're talking about $250 million that you're investing. Why are you investing at such scale? And how is the government going to justify this spending, especially when ultimately it's the market forces that will determine which company succeeds?
Well, we are not picking winners and choosers in terms of companies. I think the real focus of both programs, the Talent Accelerator program, as well as the program we launched today, is really about building the ecosystem and building capabilities, and helping companies who want to aspire to build those capabilities to do so quickly so that they can also seize opportunities quickly.
Absolutely. Mr. Ng, if I could bring you in. Now, you are the creator of Grandfather Story, which is a very successful digital platform. Do you like this initiative? I mean, how will it help you solve your current challenges?
Right. I think the program comes in at quite a timely moment for us. So the space is evolving very quickly in terms of the platforms, the formats. And first, I think on the content side of things, I think it will allow us to try new formats, to experiment with new formats. So we want to experiment with more short form narratives, to see how we can push that out to the evolving audience, because audience appetite is also evolving really fast, right, alongside with the technology. So I think that's how we see the program helping us. I think for the second part of things, there are also AI courses, which we think will be beneficial for our employees. So we currently today want to use AI to augment our workflows. And we think that we want to build up AI fluency within our company so that our employees can then maybe use the tools to help them with their workflow, which will help us tell better stories.
Right. So workflow is one thing, and just that springboard to experimentation, right, is what I hear you say. Mr. Tan, you talked about building capabilities, but how will you know, how will you address two tension points? Okay, and one of them is elevating that flood of low-quality content that we see nowadays coming through the internet, and allowing the risks between what the creative guys want to tell, the narrative, and the government story.
Well, I don't see the tensions in this way. Firstly, just building on what Kai Yuan said, I think technology, digital platforms, AI, augmented workflows and capabilities helps to level the playing field between our content creators and the rest of the world. I mean, in traditional content creation, especially in bigger countries, you make huge budgets for animation, huge budgets for TV series, and you need big markets to sustain it. With digital technologies and new platforms, especially AI-enabled ones, allows our content creators or storytellers to actually enter those markets at scale. So it levels the playing field, creating more opportunities for us. Secondly, I think it is really about technology augmenting that storytelling and that connection with the audience. All the more so when you switch on your laptop, your phones, switch on different platforms, what they call AI slop on internet, the term, because all generated by AI, all looks the same, feels the same, you don't resonate with content. But allowing the human storytelling to come to the fore and technology enabling it, I think that authenticity and the kind of capabilities, I think, is something that's going to be our competitive advantage.
That sounds great, but how do you measure authenticity? Will IMDA be determining whether the funding has been successful in the past 4 years? What outcomes are you?
At the end of the day, the audience will decide. Whether they can monetize the content, how the reach of that content, whether people are going to pay for that content. I think the market will decide. For us, what we see as success at the end of the program is really, firstly, does it help to grow the ecosystem? Having more of our digital content creators, more of our companies, our media professionals pick up new skill sets, ability to create content for the new market, reach out to new audiences, and fundamentally allow them to be more competitive. I think that's important.
Mr. Ng, I just want to talk to you. You already had in your mind to send everyone for AI training, right? So now you've got this wonderful curated program. So where do you see this delivering the greatest value today?
I think for us, it's really, I think, bringing everyone to the starting point. Right? I think today there's probably mixed feelings in the room, right? Some are feeling a bit excited, whereas I think there are people who maybe are a little bit more fearful, right? Not too sure what to expect out of that. I think hopefully we can maybe just empower everyone to really get to the starting point and start on the journey, right? I think that's really much more important.
So you see that difference in the company right now, right? Some hesitation, but some, So if I was to have this conversation with the two of you again, say 2030, right? 4 years down, where you have to relook at your budget and things like that, what does success look like in the Singapore media industry? And what do you think the Singapore story that we tell could start to look like and feel like going to the future? Maybe for both of you, starting with Mr.
Sure. I think at the end of the day, it's really all about the human connection, right? And that's not going to change. I think AI is going to help us maybe be a little bit more efficient. It's going to help us to augment some of the workflows. But at the end of the day, I think we as storytellers, as creators, we need to really just bring out this authentic Singapore stories. And that will eventually really help us to connect with the audience. And that is going to really stay. yeah, that's not something that will change.
Perhaps globally as well. And what about you, Mr.?
Well, I think really I have a term for it. It's called Made with Singapore content. Content that is actually, well, my slogan for this whole, well, slogan, but my ambition for this, or aspiration, I hope, is that it's a little red dot, but you have big dreams for the media sector. And you're made with Singapore content, but made for the world. And success to me is really, end of the day, 4 years from now, 3 years from now, do we have a vibrant media ecosystem telling our stories and for audiences not just in Singapore, in the region, around the world, and I think that's success.
Well, someone telling very different kind of stories on the news. I look forward to all that you have ahead of you. Thank you, gentlemen, for being in the studio with us today.
Thank you.
Well, I was speaking there with the Tan Kiat Hao, who is the Senior Minister of State for Digital Development and Information, as well as Ng Kai Yuan, co-founder of Our Grandfather's Story and co-CEO of Unfold Asia.